We're going to do so good with this.
We're going to do so great.
People are going to be like, can you do Exile again, but like in a different mood?
Yeah. Can you do Exile again, but like better?
Can you be a little more serious, please? No.
Abby and Kat were born in 1997 and became best friends when they were 6. Grew up together and started a band and bonded over music ever since. 20 years later, they are all grown up and spend their free time analyzing lyrics. Now here they are talking all about their Lord and Savior, Dr. Taylor Allison Swift. Taylor, if you're listening, we love you.
Welcome to Swiftlore Podcast, where we dive into lyrics and lore of our Lord and Savior, Dr. Taylor Allison Swift.
Absolutely. That's why we're here.
I'm Kat.
I'm Abby. It's after 8 p.m.
It is after 8 p.m. This is a Swiftlore late night edition.
Yeah, and if you guys recall from the Glee episode.
The Glee episode, if you will.
Way back when.
That was like over a year ago. That's crazy.
I know. And I have such fond memories of that episode. We are so silly, though.
Yeah.
But
So
these songs are...
Yeah, these are not silly songs, is the thing. But are we going to get silly with it? Who's to say? This week we're going for the movie vibes. So I am covering If This Was a Movie.
And I'm covering Exile.
So just a couple of really happy songs about just having a really good time and just being a really well-adjusted person.
Exactly. And on that note, I am going to celebrate all small successes of you, of me, of anyone listening right now, because life is hard.
Yeah, it is.
And we're here. And you're doing great. You're doing the best that you can.
And if you're having a bad day, listen to Sparks Fly. Cured.
Immediately.
Listen, you put on all of Speak Now TV, by the end, you've gone through like every emotion.
That's true. That's true. I've also had multiple people tell me this week that they've been listening to Midnights again.
Yeah.
I feel very vindicated.
Vindication. I feel like I need to revisit Midnights because I feel that I should.
Okay. I also should probably just listen to the album again. As a Midnights girly, I listen to it not a lot anymore.
True. I did realize like a week ago that I got like Bluetooth headphones for Christmas, and I only had AirPods before, which only connect to like an iPhone or a laptop or something, but the new headphones I have will connect to my Bluetooth record player. So I could listen to Midnights on vinyl straight to the dome.
That's nice.
I have been listening to Lover Live from Paris straight to the dome.
That's like the closest you can get to injecting music in your veins.
Exactly. Like I got the noise canceling headphones on. And they're purple, so I guess I should listen to Speak Now, really, if anything.
So it all circles back to listening to Sparks Fly.
It all comes back to Sparks Fly. Or I've been really obsessed with Sports Car by Tate McRae. I was telling Abby before we started recording, but banger. If you want like some early 2000s, like campy, trashy pop kind of vibes.
Nice. Also, so much Joe is happening.
Oh my God, we're going to see him. We got tickets.
We got tickets. We're going to be in Toronto.
Abby's going to 2 shows.
Okay.
Because she's an icon, and so is Liam.
So friend of the pod and Swiftest tier patron Liam surprised me with tickets, and we'd already gotten tickets, so I think I'm going twice. I think I have to do it.
You have to.
I think I have to do it, even though it's like I'm stressed about it because it's during the end of my final semester of grad school, but I'm sort of front loading my capstone project at the beginning so that hopefully I'll have less to do at the end of the semester.
So that you can Joe it up.
So I can Joe it up.
So yeah, we're going to see Orla on 4/20, which is also Easter in Toronto. And then we're also seeing Joe in Toronto on April 29th.
Yeah, because we're leaving the country twice in 10 days.
Listen, sometimes you just got to go leave the country a little bit.
It's easier for us to get to Toronto than it is New York City. And that's weird. But also, Joe's New York shows were on like Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Yeah. So, he also Toronto.
There was like a surprise show that's happening like
today, but
right now probably.
But
it sold out within 15 minutes.
That was wild. Except there was. Did you see that there were 100 reserved tickets for At the Door, and those started being sold?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but it was like a really small 650 person venue. I checked, and it was like immediately sold out. And he had only sent the email to people who had signed up for emails.
Yeah, so it was like, because I saw the email at like 12:20 and it had come through at like 12:06, and it was already fully gone by the time I got in.
That's wild. He is blowing up.
He is. It's so exciting.
Blowing up, joing up.
It's joing up.
Love
and
that for him.
Basic Being Basic is a bop.
Yep.
So excited for the album. I cannot wait to scream the line, "So you like girls?" I guess I'll take it. 'Cause
Exactly.
That's me.
I also put a TikTok up of me interpreting part of it, and I want to try to like post more of those videos of me interpreting different songs.
It'd be very slay if Abby could get up on stage and do a little interpreting moment.
Especially since I'll be at 2 shows now.
Yeah,
Toronto
we're gonna
and
have to make a
Boston.
sign that's like, let her do an ASL
Let her do
interpretation.
it. And busted, please.
And like the thing is that you make friends everywhere we go.
That's
So
fair.
I think that you can indoctrinate some people around us to help.
I might be able to manifest this one.
I think, you know what? We've got good things happening. I'm not allowed to talk about my good thing that happened today because it hasn't been announced yet.
Which
But
it's a very good thing.
it's a very
guys.
good thing,
It's a
and I'll
very
talk
good
about it
thing.
next week. It's a writing thing. It's a literary thing.
We also have another guest secured.
We do. Yes, 2 good things happened today.
Yeah.
We have an exciting guest next week, which is
So.
just we won't
spoil it.
spoil it. Have we chit chatted too much?
I think so.
Never enough.
Never. One last chit chat is Gracie Lawrence did perform that on the end of the Sex Lives of College Girls season, and it was very exciting and very emotional for me. I've been crying at everything recently. I cried.
I cry a lot, but I am so productive. It's an art.
Truly. I cried watching an Adam Sandler rom-com. That's I
That's
need
a
to
new
go
low.
to,
I'm gonna be honest.
to go to jail. That was
I don't know if
wild.
that's a jailable offense.
Well, it was just like
You wouldn't last an hour in the asylum where they raised me for real.
it was weird. It just hit me in a weird, like, emotional note.
No, that's fair. I cried to That's So True by Gracie Abrams because the fridge says coffin.
Sometimes it be like that.
Sometimes it'd be like that.
We hold space and we do not judge.
We don't.
Okay, now
Now,
I guess I'll go.
yeah, I feel like it's like both of our songs are sad, but yours is sadder. So,
Exile.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Now I'm in exile.
I'm seeing you out. Exile is the 4th track on.
What's funny about folklore?
I just. It's not funny. I said 4th track on 8th album. 8th album folklore.
It's because that album 8.
The album did 8. You're right.
I didn't say that. Don't misquote me.
Oh, I'm quoting you. Cat 2024.
Crucify me anyway.
Okay. I can do this. So, from 8 album folklore, it's the 2nd single from the album as well. It was
Slay.
written by Taylor William Bowery, who we discovered at this time was her boyfriend at the time, Joe Alwyn. What? Oh my gosh! No
I'm just
way.
gonna pull it. Oh my god! Why did I forget? What the fuck is his name? Jack Antonoff. I can't believe I forgot. I was picturing him in my mind, and I was like, I know it's not also Joe, but it's kind of Joe.
It's kind of Joe. No, okay, I see the confusion.
That's it's been a long year.
And that's not the last time I'm going to mention a Joe in these notes. So, anyway, it was also written by Justin Vernon, who, is Bon Iver. Did you know I used to say Bone? I didn't used to say that. I used to say Bon Iver when I was a kid because that's how it looked to me. I'm holding space for that. Okay, so Taylor, Joe, Justin, and then it was produced by Aaron, Joe, and Justin is also singing. I wrote, Taylor was stoked that Justin collabed with her. That's because there was a whole thing about how she was basically like, he's such an inspiration to me. I would love to have him on the album. And then he said yes. And then I was like, well, okay, no way he's going to actually do it though, right? And then he did it. And then
Which
she was
is
like,
so funny of her.
right. She was like, but no way it's going to actually like work out and be on the album, right? And then it was. And she was like, what? That was
What
like
do you mean?
us when we got literally any of our guests on the
Yeah.
pod. Literally any of them.
Me
Where I was
every day
like-
when anything good happens. I'm like, what?
What do you mean? This song is labeled as chamber pop, which
What?
I know. I was like, I don't know what that means, but also it makes sense.
Like, is it because it kind of sounds like it'd be like if a chamber choir like performed it?
Maybe.
I could see this echoing in like a churchy vibe.
Yeah, it's giving that.
Yeah.
This was nominated for a Grammy for Best Pop Duo Performance of the Year. listen, I got this next one off Wikipedia. Who knows if it's true? I want it to be true. It was recorded at the Kitty Committee studio.
Yeah, that's what she called her studio at her house during COVID.
Oh, is that what it means?
Yeah.
You think I could have just Googled it, like taken an extra second.
But you know what? You chose to sit in that whimsy, and you held space for the whimsy.
I held space for the Kitty Committee. In terms of what this song is about, I still don't really have brain cells, so I take a lot of quotes from other sources.
As you should.
So Wikipedia said that lyrically, this song discusses two estranged lovers and their former relationship in which one has not moved on, sung by Vernon, while the other, Swift, has. And I think it's interesting because it's sort of a contrast to Evermore, which I covered a few weeks ago, and how that one is similar, where it's like the same singers, two different people or characters or whatever, but both having this miscommunication of how their relationship ended and like where they are. So I think that's really interesting.
Yeah.
And then Taylor said that Exile is a song that was written about miscommunications in relationships. It's a very long quote, so I'm going to just skim it a little bit. Skibbity-boop. They can't quite get on the same page. They never were able to. And even in their end, even after they've broken up, they're still not hearing each other. It really does seem to be about the tragedy of two people, of two ships passing in the night. Critical reception. I wrote down a couple of quotes because people had a lot of fire things to say about the song. So Valerie Megan called the song a scintillating duet and a wintry, tortured monster of a song that best showcases the sonic beauty of folklore.
Wintry, tortured monster of a song.
I know.
I mean, she's right.
That's kind of it. Yeah. Like, need I say more? Oh, I thought this was funny. Elle named this song the second best of 2020. And Men's Health included it in its ranking of best 25 songs of 2020. Men's Health? What?
They're like, there's a man there. Why is a man here?
There was a Reddit deleted user that said that this song was The Last Time on steroids.
Oh, I feel like I've said that before.
It's
Maybe I'm the Reddit deleted user.
Maybe you are.
Maybe
And
we're the Reddit deleted users we made it along the way.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Truly.
Are you sure?
Yeah. With my brain capacity? Yeah. And then user EC91792. I know that you're so grateful that I always include the usernames every time.
I am.
They said, "Oh my, Bon Iver, that gravelly voice sends me. Bye." I don't know.
I just imagine that they're like inflating like a balloon, like the ant from the beginning of the third Harry Potter movie / book, where she blows up and then like floats away.
Bye. My
They're
people
like-
need me. I just love how there's like an opening, a closing, and a salutation.
Yeah.
Like, that comment has it all.
They're like writing it like a business email, except probably less exclamation points.
Probably. Performances. This song was first performed at a Bon Iver concert in London, October 25th, 2022, when he was like, and also Taylor is here, and you will be there too.
And you will be there too. And a video from that performance, still to this day, I'm still getting fucking likes about this comment that I left.
Oh, is that the one?
It's the video of the first performance, and my comment has like tens of thousands of likes because the performance was right after the Bejeweled music video came out with all the Exile hints. And then I was like, oh, this is what all the Exile Easter eggs were about in the music video. And still to this day, at least like a couple times a week, it gets a like.
You know, I love and hate that for you.
It's wild.
It was also performed on the Eras Tour, first on August 7th in LA. Then it was mashed up with Haunted twice in Sydney and Okay, Wikipedia said Edinburgh. They mean Edinburgh, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, that's wrong.
Well, it's spelled Edinburgh, but it's pronounced Edinburgh.
Really?
You know, it's one of those weird Scottish things.
How did I possibly make up that it was spelled that way my entire life?
Well, that's how it should be spelled.
Okay, so today we've learned on Swiftlore how...
We?
So rude. And so, like, rightful.
Rightful.
Can't even be mad. Okay. So, now that we have the whole Edinburgh of it all figured out, it was also mashed up with The Black Dog in Warsaw on August 3rd, 2024, which I think is interesting because they're both August. And I think there was another song I did recently where they were both in June a year apart.
Yes. I can't remember what it was, but
I can't either. But I wonder if she does it on purpose. Maybe she doesn't. Coincidences are very much a thing. But also
coincidence? I think not.
But also we overthink here at Swiftlore Podcast. That's what we do. This was also mashed up with Cold As You in Indianapolis on November 1st, 2024. It was covered by Griff and Maisie Peters in December 2020 on YouTube.
Love.
We love Maisie Peters.
And then it's wild that both of them became openers for the Eras tour.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know Griff.
Her song Vertigo, Taylor posted about on her story. It's really good.
Oh, okay. It was also featured in the season 3 finale of You. This is where the second Joe comes in.
Oh,
Joe Goldberg, who we've mentioned multiple times on this podcast.
Well, you know, my neighbor.
Right?
Penn
Exactly.
Badgley.
Not Joe Goldberg. You would not want Joe Goldberg as your neighbor.
No, very much not. He killed a bunch of his neighbors. Spoilers.
That's okay. It happens real early on in the show. I never watched the show, and even I know that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it keeps happening.
Yeah, he just never stops.
And then he's just like, I'm not crazy. I have to kill people. And it's like, crazy person says what?
And then there's a montage with Exile, apparently.
Yeah. I don't remember what it is. I stopped watching You after, I think it was after the 3rd season. The 4th season started. And just the first, 15 minutes, something happened that I was just like, fuck you. I'm not doing this to myself again.
Yeah.
It just got to the point where I'm like, how the fuck is he not caught?
Yeah.
I could no longer be immersed in the disbelief. Sorry, I'm just doing this whole tangent on you when you're trying to cover Exile.
Oh, no, it's fine. I have no thoughts in my head.
That's so valid.
So I like hearing your thoughts.
I like having them.
Great. It was also in the 2nd season of The Summer I Turned Pretty, as is a lot of other Taylor Swift songs.
Ouch.
Personal connections. I, like every other person with taste, love this song.
And if you don't love this song, who hurt you?
Well,
or
I think
who hasn't hurt you?
Who hasn't hurt you? Yeah. But the thing about this song that is funny to me is that when I first listened to it, Folklore has just come out. I'm listening to the album for the first time. I got so jump scared by the male voice that starts off this song, because you're expecting Taylor Swift, and then it's just,
I could see you.
I was like, whoa,
why is a man there?
A white man?
No.
Typical. So anyway, I quote Schmidt all the time. Controversial take, I don't even like Schmidt that much in the show.
I mean, I don't think it's controversial.
He's a bad person.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to be friends with him in real life.
But he's a fun character.
He's quotable. He's so quotable. Anyway, now we both tangented. So there you go.
Have we tangented too close to the sun? Let us know in the comments below.
All right, now I'll get into the lyrics. Finally, after all those shenanigans. It starts off with, as I just mentioned, a man. He says, I can see you standing, honey, with his arms around your body, laughing, but the joke's not funny at all. So there's a lot to be said here. Clearly, he's seeing his ex, presumably in the arms of someone else, which is giving Chloe at all to me. But also, she's laughing even when the joke's not funny. So either they're both kind of unreliable narrators in this song, which makes it very interesting. Because he's saying, you're laughing, but you're faking it, and I'm better than he is, and you're just trying to move on, but you can't possibly move on because I haven't moved on. But it's possible that the joke actually is funny and she's having a good time.
And also, when you're really into somebody and they tell a joke, even if it's a terrible joke, you might laugh because you like them.
That's
so then
true.
You think it's funny.
That's true. He's seething in the corner.
Exactly. He's like her new boyfriend tells a silly joke and she's laughing at it and he's just like, I could make you laugh harder.
Yeah, for sure. I also wanted to mention Amy Poehler because I'll always mention Amy Poehler when I can.
As you should.
She had this one, I think, acceptance speech, and Amy Poehler talks a lot in general about being a funny woman because there's that stereotype that women aren't funny. And she had this one acceptance speech where she was like, girls, remember that if a guy tells a joke, you don't have to laugh. And I know that that's not really relevant to this song, but it's also true and good advice.
It is.
It took you 5 whole minutes to pack us up and leave me with it. So it's more of this anger and bitterness at how it seems to him that she was able to just like get up and go and move on so quickly. He couldn't do that. And the idea of her packing up but leaving him with this feeling of love, of this relationship, of this despair that used to be like split between them, and now she's just gone.
Yeah. She left, but left him with the baggage.
Exactly. Holding all this love out here in the hall. A couple times she's mentioned halls, such as Maroon, Hollow-Eyed in the Hallway. And then also in Hits Different, which I just covered.
And You're Losing Me.
Oh, yeah, that too.
And in If This Was a Movie.
And If This Was a Movie. A song that I definitely know.
To be fair, it's not on an album, but we'll get there.
I truly don't know the song, which is interesting. I know.
Cray.
I know. We get to the chorus. I think I've seen this film before, and I didn't like the ending. It's just knowing what's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Because probably he's been through it before. He's been heartbroken before, and he's like, ugh. Or it's possible this is a relationship that was on to get off again. Mm-hmm. It's unclear. It depends on the interpretation. But either way,
he knows what's coming and he doesn't like it.
He's not here for it. You're not my homeland anymore. So what am I defending now?
Taylor.
Okay. I can go anywhere, just not home. Like this feeling of, what am I supposed to do now? What am I supposed to do with this? Like, you used to be my life, my everything. Now what? You're my town. Now I'm in exile seeing you out. So that's a repeated refrain, basically the whole point of the song. The song is called Exile. Someone on Reddit, it was one of the top comments of the thread, was like trashing on this song. I know. It was interesting. And I read through it and I'm like, okay, I see your points. So they had two main criticisms. One, that the two themes used throughout the song about movies and exile don't really mix. Like she didn't, so that was the first criticism. And the second one is, now I'm in exile seeing you out are two conflicting statements. Exile means being forced out of your home, and to see someone out means to like lead them out. So now I'm in exile seeing you out is conflicting. I have my own thoughts on what like it could also mean.
Yeah, I've never thought of it as like seeing someone out. Mm-hmm. I've always thought of it as like they're in exile, so now like they don't go home to that person anymore. So they're in exile from that, but they still see them out because like, I thought I saw you at the bus stop. I didn't though.
Yeah, that's how I've always taken it too. Like they're currently in the corner of the room looking at her with another person and being angry about it.
It clicked because it took you 5 whole minutes to pack it up and leave me with it. So she left, but he's still in exile because even though he's in their home, it's now just his home, and it feels like exile because it's not his homeland without her there.
Yeah.
So he saw her out. He saw her leave.
He saw her out. Yeah. I see you out of what we used to share.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Now he's in exile.
That makes sense. It also is giving I look in people's windows.
It is very much giving I look in people's windows.
So Taylor sings the second verse. It starts with, I can see you staring, honey. So she's acknowledging like, I see you over there looking at me.
But you're not subtle. You're sitting in the corner with your arms crossed like and a storm cloud over your head.
I think this song, I mean, maybe it's just because I'm in a silly, goofy mood, but it's funny how much they're miscommunicating.
Yeah.
Because then she says, like, he's just your understudy. So she has this assumption that he's looking at this new guy that she's with and being like, oh, that guy's just a replacement for when you inevitably come back to me. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whereas he's just like, oh, look at that guy, sucks.
Right. He's like, oh man, I still love you and you're out with someone else and you're probably faking it. I mean, I guess in that case, she's kind of right.
Yeah.
In this case, she's kind of right. She continues and is wrong. But at the current time, as Genius said, this line deepens the imagery of their love being pre-scripted with the film having already played out before. Like
Doomed
he's just
by the
your
narrative.
Understudy. Like you'd get your knuckles bloody for me. You want to fight. He's looking at her and she's like, so you want to punch this guy? Seriously?
Really? You want to fight for me now?
Right.
Which is also like interesting with the like, who am I defending now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because like if he fights this guy, he's not defending her.
Right. And he's not defending their relationship because it's over.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Much better than my point, which was basically quoting the whole John Mulaney New in Town bit where you walk up to someone, you push him. Second, third, and 100th chances. So this is where we learn that it wasn't a sudden packing up and leaving.
Mm-hmm.
This was like, nope, I told you 100 times that this was coming, that I wanted it.
So you know how I'm addicted to those Reddit Minecraft stories?
Yes.
So one thing that's like always a through line is like a lot of times men will post in the like "Am I the asshole" subreddit, where they're clearly the asshole and like they're the problem, and like they'll say all this stuff of like, my wife tells me to stop leaving my shit everywhere and I keep leaving my shit everywhere and now we're getting a divorce. It came out of nowhere, and it kind of is giving that vibe of like, she was very clear of like, I am giving you so many chances to fix this, and he's just thinking like, oh, she'll always come back. And so I feel like that also ties back to like the understudy of it all, because she thinks that he thinks she'll always go back to him, but she knows that she's done.
Right. She's like, you're Delulu. For real.
You're in Delulu. You're exiled from the real world.
Balancing on breaking branches, which I love the alliteration there. Amazing. It shows that their relationship was very fragile when they were trying. And it also reminds me of, there's a song from the last 5 years. Nobody Needs to Know, I think it's called. I was obsessed with the last 5 years for a brief moment in time in 2016. And there's a whole verse about like trying to keep this tree house together. He uses a whole, is it metaphor or simile?
Does
I build a tree house, I
metaphor.
keep it from.
Metaphor.
Okay. Metaphor about keeping a tree house together. If you know, you know.
And I don't.
It's a very heartbreaking part of the musical.
I'm sure it is. I've never watched that because I know it would hurt me.
It hurts, and I need more people to talk about it with. Not necessarily
Bailey's watched it. Bailey
Okay.
was obsessed with it for a brief period when we lived together.
Okay, so I'll talk to Bailey, and then anyone who's listening, if you want to message me and talk about the last 5 years, please do.
Do it.
Those eyes add insult to injury. So this is tying back to, I can see you staring at me, and I'm just trying to move on and be with someone new, and you're looking at me like that, and it's just making everything worse. So can you stop?
Yeah, like I gave you so many chances to fix things, and now you're just staring me down in public like I hurt you when you hurt me so many times.
Right. And this is the frustration of like, I can't believe like it's over, it's done, and you still don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, the frustration. Like he's so angry. She's so angry. We get back to the chorus. Taylor sings it this time. And this lyric change is, I'm not your problem anymore. So who am I offending now? I don't know where that weird whoop came from.
Your soul.
But it did come from my
Whoop,
soul.
there it is.
Because when I was reading this, it's so true, bestie. I don't know how to respond to you when you say whoop, there it is.
It had to be said, but it didn't
it.
need to be acknowledged. It's okay.
I get it. So when I read this, going through the lyrical analysis, it tied the whole song in for me of how in the first chorus, you're not my homeland anymore. So he thinks that she was his homeland. She thinks that she was his problem, which is like the core of the miscommunication.
Yeah.
Of just like, she thought that she was doing him a favor. Like, I know that I'm constantly nagging at you that we're not getting along, so I'm just going to go. And he was like, what do you mean you're gone? Like, you were everything to me. You were my crown. Now I'm in exile, seeing you out. So they both feel forced out of this homeland, and he thinks she's the homeland. She thinks that they're the homeland, but he's the crown that makes her queen of the homeland. There's a lot to that. I'm not really sure what, but I know it's there.
I mean, I wonder if it ties into like the fact that like in England, you know, like there's the monarch, and then the monarch's spouse isn't like right now, like Camilla isn't the queen, she's the queen consort.
Oh.
So she can never actually be a queen. And if like her and Charles were to get divorced, she would no longer be royalty.
Oh, that's true.
So I wonder if it's kind of like that sort of thing of like us being together made me feel like I was royalty, like I was a princess. But now that I left you, like I had to leave that whole like vision of my future behind too.
And it's interesting in terms of like what's important to them. Like he's heartbroken because he lost his home, and she's heartbroken because she lost like this royalty almost.
This like crowning achievement.
Right.
Of
And
them.
I'm not saying that's the only thing that either of them are upset about.
Mhm.
It's just interesting how the two perspectives play off of each other in that way. And then she adds, so I'm leaving out the side door. I think to me that line is like, I know how this ends if I go out the front door or the back door. So I'm going to try a new way just as a last ditch effort to avoid what I know was going to happen.
It makes me think of mine, like the bridge of mine of like running out into the street and then him following and saying like, I'll never leave you alone.
Yeah.
And this is like the inverse of like, she knows that if she does this big dramatic, like run out into the street crying, he'll follow her. But so the only way for her to leave is to just sit, like be resigned about it.
And to sneak out almost
in
the night.
Like an emergency exit. Because whenever I hear like, I'm leaving out the side door, like, especially in a movie theater, like that's the emergency exit. So she's like taken the emergency exit from this relationship.
And then he immediately is like, so step right out. Go on now, get.
Go on, get.
He's like, okay, fine.
So step right out.
Which this part
good.
is amazing. The build to this with the piano, just like the chords on the piano and then them both yelling at each other. Amazing.
And when the crowd sings Bon Iver's part.
Yeah. That
Bon Iver. Did I say it? I said
you
it.
said Bon. I think.
Bone? Sorry.
Whatever.
That guy.
That guy. But when
Justin.
Justin.
What if I just called him Justin?
I can't believe he's named Justin.
I know.
Like every time.
It's like Hosier's name being Andrew.
It's just wrong.
I'm like, what do you mean your name's Andrew? What do you mean somebody could unironically call Hosier Andy? What do you mean?
No,
Ooh,
they cannot.
New theory. He's Andy from Toy Story.
Don't.
So step right out.
That's. I'm sorry.
Or worse, Drew.
I don't know how that is worse, but it is.
But it is.
It is.
It's because Drew looks at me, you know?
Oh my goodness. Wow, you really circled it back to Taylor Swift.
Everything comes back to Taylor Swift.
You're good at that.
Yeah, that's how my brain works.
One thing that I also really liked just about Genius, the way that they laid out these lyrics, is that for the bridge, it said, Bridge, Justin Vernon, Taylor Swift, and both. I was like, yeah, that's true.
All right, both pop off.
There is no amount of crying I can do for you. That's a very hopeless, like, I know there's literally nothing I can do. There's no amount of crying. There's no amount of begging. It's done. It's over.
Yeah.
All this time, we always walked a very thin line. Like, the whole relationship has been on breaking branches and miscommunications, and it's always been very fragile. It's giving Fine Line by Harry Styles. There,
It's
I'll
also
say
like the thing we keep talking about like love and hate being so similar. And it's like they've always had such a passionate relationship that it got to the point where like crying so much and like wanting each other so much just wasn't enough.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. You didn't even hear me out. And this is the first time that she echoes, you didn't even hear me out. So at least they agree on something, finally.
Yeah. They're like, you weren't listening to me. Well, you weren't listening,
to me.
But also the fact that the first thing they agree on is the fact that the other doesn't listen to them.
Right. And
but they're not listening to each other because
No.
if I say to you, you're not listening to me, and you respond with, you're not listening to me.
Yep.
Then that's just continuing it. Like it's proving the first person's point, but also the second person feels the same way. So it's like that there's just no good communication happening because both of them have these preconceived notions of like who the other person is.
And I'm pretty sure that's the only time that they both say the same exact thing to each other. Because the rest of the times it's like flipped a little bit, which is like woof. Because that's the whole issue. They're not listening.
Yeah.
I never learned to read your mind, and then never learned to read my mind. Like him bitterly being like, what, did you want me to just know what you wanted? And her being like, well, kind of. I wanted you to like know me well enough
to know what I wanted.
Right. Which I was also like telling you, I was giving you signs.
Yeah.
And there's also this thing when you're in a relationship with someone, you're supposed to know them enough to be like, oh, they would like this thing or they wouldn't like this thing, at least. But also, reading someone's mind is impossible. So there's just like they're just angry guys.
Yeah, it's like she felt that she communicated, so then she stopped communicating because she was annoyed that it wasn't working.
Right.
But obviously no communication is not going to work either.
Right. I couldn't turn things around. You never turn things around. So here's where I start to think that she was asking for some sort of change. Mm-hmm. This is framed where like it's his fault that the relationship didn't work because he didn't listen and he didn't change. And I have a lot of thoughts about that. It also says like not that he didn't change, it's that he couldn't change. And I think there's a lot to be said about that in a relationship. Like you can't, I've said this before, loving someone for what you want them to be isn't quite it.
Yeah.
I just watched the half of it again.
Oh,
that movie's so good. And there's a quote at the end where the dad says, have you ever loved someone so much that you don't want anything about them to change? And I'm going to leave that there. I think that's really important. I know.
Oof.
I know. And I haven't stopped thinking about it since I watched that last week.
Damn.
Right? That's literally my last note because then they repeat, I think I've seen this film before, in unison. And then they do this a step right out again. And there's just a lot of like, you didn't hear me out. I never gave a warning sign. And I gave so many signs. That's like what we've been talking about this whole time. But also, I think that's my favorite part of the song is you never gave me a sign, and her saying, I gave so many signs.
Yeah. It's just because you didn't understand the signs doesn't mean that I didn't give them.
Yeah.
That's like, there's a quote from The Good Place that I saw. I don't know the context because I have not watched that show. I can't do comedy. We know how this works. But it's like, we found all 4 clues that you left for us. And it's like, well, actually I left thousands, but I'm glad that you found those 4.
Yeah, definitely. So this whole last part of the song is just them arguing with each other. And even like 2 ships passing in the night, they just never got it right.
Yeah. And even because also like the way that the voices are layered and stuff, like they're just talking over each other. So they're continuing to not listen and not even trying to listen to the other one.
Right.
And it just makes me think of like they see each other at this bar and he's like glaring at her new boyfriend and she's like, ugh, what are you gonna do? Fight him? And then they go outside to like have an argument and she's like, you never listened to me. And he's like, you never listened to me. And it's like, I gave so many, you never gave any.
Right. You know? Right. So then they get into the argument.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's like the exact same argument that they've already had a million times.
Yeah. I said 3 times because I feel it in my bones.
Because you're just in your little Usher era.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We remember at the birthday party.
Sorry.
We went to a birthday party once where we were bored, so we just came up with alternative reasons for the songs. And that song was him being a photographer and saying yeah every time he took a good picture.
That's so funny. All I remember from that was TikTok by Kesha was about the last like you had just committed some sort of crime and you knew that the police were going to catch you, so it was like your last night out partying.
That was a stroke of genius.
Honestly, I stand by that theory.
That would yeah. It was. So
DQ.
Yeah. Let's get some ice cream.
Discussion question.
I know. I was making a joke.
I don't know anymore.
I get it. So the discussion question: what was a movie you watched where you really hated the ending? This is unrelated to the song.
I know that there are ones.
I've got beef with the movie All of Us Strangers because I wanted to watch it since it had Andrew Scott and Paul Mescal in it. And I didn't realize that it would be the most brutal, saddest, most horrible, traumatizing thing I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, I know what one I'm going to pick.
Okay, what is it?
Remember Me.
Oh, yeah.
Where, spoiler, this movie came out so long ago, it's on you. The end is just like, plot twist, he dies in 9/11. What do you mean?
Yeah, it's like a romance movie up until then, right?
Yeah. And then, like, I guess the point is just that, like, 9/11 hit us all in weird, like, I don't even know.
Like so many people died that day who had all their own stories. Like, I guess I get what they were trying to do, but like,
it was a really weird way to do it.
Yeah, that's a very controversial one.
Yeah, so that's an ending that I hated.
Mine was just like, I just really like Paul Mescal and Andrew Scott, and I just...
You just didn't know it was going to be so devastating?
It was so devastating.
That was me also with Never Let You Go, with Spider-Man 2. second Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield.
Mm.
Your cat.
Right. Of course. I have a cat named Andrew Garfield.
Well, sorry, you live with a cat.
I live with a cat named Andrew Garfield, so I get to tell people that I live with Andrew Garfield.
But he's in that movie, and so me and
the
our
actor,
friend,
not the cat.
Yeah. He could have been.
Could've been.
I watched it with our friend Ryan, and I had read the book, so I knew it was going to happen. But seeing it in the movie was so much sadder.
Yeah.
And also I was drinking, so I was just sobbing uncontrollably by the end of that movie.
It'd be like that sometimes. Yeah. So that's Exile. I love the concept of the song and the execution of the song. All very good and
everything
very
about it,
unique.
chef's kiss.
Yeah. So there you have it.
There you have it. And now, if this was a movie,
you'd be the right guy,
and I'd be the best friend you'd fall in love with. In the end, we'd be laughing.
That's what I
Watching the sunset fade to black. Show the names. Play that happy song.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of ties in.
Does it?
It does, actually, because this song was co-written by Martin Johnson of Boys Like Girls, who also co-wrote with Taylor You'll Always Find Your Way Back Home from the Hannah Montana movie.
Well, there you go.
So you know what? It works. And that's why this song, despite being track 16 on Speak Now, is not on Speak Now Taylor's version, because it is not solo written by Taylor like the rest of Speak Now. So it was just kind of released. It has the Fearless Taylor's version cover on Spotify, but it wasn't released as part of Fearless Taylor's version. It was released with Eyes Open, Safe and Sound, Taylor's versions right before Eras Tour started, as well as All the Girls You Loved Before. Those weren't like all on one EP or anything, but they were all released the same day, March 17th, 2023. So Martin Johnson, like I said, he co-wrote You'll Always Find Your Way Back Home. He was also, or is, I don't know if Boys Like Girls are still together, but he was the lead singer of that band. And the song on the stolen version was produced by Taylor and Nathan Chapman, and on Taylor's version, it was Taylor and Christopher Rao. We still haven't looked it up. And the hidden message in this song is Let's Press Rewind. And this song has only been performed once ever. Since 2010 when the song came out. Performed once. Ever.
When?
On June 23rd, 2023 in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Wow.
I forgot to write what song was the other song, but like it's so insane that this is the only time she's ever played it live.
Yeah, that is wild.
So like if you saw this song live, you're in history.
Yeah, truly.
In terms of personal connections, I was obsessed with the song when I was like 14 because I was full of angst, and I also wanted to be in love so that I could break up and relate to the songs. You know? I don't have a lot of front matter for the song. So overall, just like my interpretation is like Speak Now as a whole is very much her romanticizing her life and romanticizing like being 18 to 20 and falling in love and having these relationships and like thinking everything's going to be a fairy tale. In this song, it's just kind of like what happens when you romanticize your life to a like worrying degree, and then reality comes in and you're like, this isn't a movie, this is my life, because if this was a movie, you'd be here by now. So we'll dive right in. Verse 1. Last night I heard my own heart beating. Sounded like footsteps on my stairs. Ouch.
Yeah.
Ouch. Ouch.
Wow.
Right away we know that she's alone on the night that she's talking about, and she expected somebody else to be there, even though she knows that she's alone. And it's been 6 months gone, and I'm still reaching. The yearning. The drama. Like waking up and reaching across the bed for someone who hasn't been there for half a year. Ouch. Because, so like, I'm still reaching, even though I know you're not there. Like, she really captured that feeling of like grieving a relationship when you like first wake up in the morning. I guess it's just grieving anything. You kind of like, before you're fully conscious, you kind of forget whatever this major life change is. Like you haven't, there's things, you know, when you're still in denial about something and it still hasn't sunk in, when you first wake up in the morning, it doesn't click. That like second where she wakes up and she reaches for him and she's like, was he giving coffee or something? And then she's like, he's been gone for 6 months.
I'm still stuck on the heartbeat and the footsteps on the stairs thing. Because to me, it feels like when she heard this person come towards her or leaving, like her heart was still beating. And now like there's no footsteps on the stairs. And so it's almost like her heart stopped.
You're losing me.
Okay, that was rude.
You know what? You brought it up.
I started it, but you really went there.
You started it. I was playing back 1,000 memories, baby, thinking about everything we've been through. So relatable. Like when a relationship ends and you're like mourning it and you're just going back over everything again and again. Very back to December.
Wow, this is yawn supreme over here.
I don't know why I keep yawning. I mean, I know why I keep yawning, but I don't know why I can't stop. Maybe I've been going back too much lately. I really like how she's kind of like blaming herself for still missing him, even though like, you know, she's right where he left her. When time stood still and I had you.
Oh.
Like time and timing is so interesting in her music, and especially like in contrast to something like Timeless that was a Speak Now vault track. In that song they kind of like exist outside of time. And they find each other in every life, like regardless of time. But this song is like they had each other, but time is what tore them apart.
What's the You Kiss Me and It Stops Time one?
You kiss me and it stops time, and I'm yours, but you're not mine.
Is it Last Kiss?
Oh no, what is it? I think it's off 1989. Oh wait, is it? No, I have to Google it now.
I know, I'm in it now.
Say Don't Go. Okay, I was right. It is a 1989 vault track.
Oh wow.
I like that I knew the vibe, but I just didn't know the song. Now to the chorus. Come back, come back, come back to me, like. The worst pronunciation in any Taylor song ever. I will say that up until Taylor's version came out, I thought the me, because she does me, she makes me too. So I thought that she was singing, come back, come back, come back to me, Eli.
Yes. Either you've told me this before or you're not alone.
I think I've told you this before because it's kind of funny.
It is kind of
that
funny.
I'm like, come back to me, Eli, which I think for the way that she sings it, I'm valid.
Yeah.
Because what do you mean, me?
Me.
I can't believe you've done this. In my house. You come to me on the day of my daughter's cuteness. She's not married. She's just adorable.
You know, I started listening to Once in a Lifetime by Talking Heads like a lot since last week. This is not my beautiful house. And you might say to yourself, this is not my beautiful wife.
I so can't believe you thought I was just saying shit.
I thought it was just an internet meme. I don't know. I mean, I knew the song. I knew the chorus. I just didn't know the verses.
Speaking of the chorus.
Get into the chorus.
Come back, come back, come back to me, like. You would if this was a movie. Like there's always that little part of you that hopes that things will go back to when they were good, as improbable and impossible as it might be. Stand in the rain outside till I came out. Just a very classic, like standing in the rain outside, waiting, like tossing rocks at your window. It's very classic. Like if this was a movie, this is what you'd be doing. You'd be standing outside, stand there like a ghost shaking from the rain, you know? Come back, come back, come back to me, like. You could if you just said sorry, said you're sorry. Like the fact that she's like, you can come back if you just apologize. And we find out later that she's the one who kind of ended things and like locked him out. But it's because he did something that he needed to apologize for. And if he literally just was like, hey, I messed up, they could go back. They could get back together. But
they just had to have a sad movie montage first, and then everything's fine in the end.
And that's how it is. In every romance movie, there's the third act breakup, and then they get back together because they're meant to be together. But, you know, if, like, I know that we could work it out somehow. But to work something out, both people have to want to do that. But if this was a movie, you'd be here by now.
Ow.
In a movie, timing is really perfect and cinematic, but in life, like, that's just not true. You wait for trains that just aren't coming, and you pretend that you're in a movie, but you never really know what ending is coming. Like, I think I've seen this film before, and I didn't like the ending, but really, like, even in that circumstance, she thinks she's seen the film before, but she doesn't even know for sure, because you can never know the ending of life. Like, that's kind of how it works. Verse 2. I know people change and these things happen. Like Speak Now as a whole is such a daydreamy album, and her acknowledging that she knows the world doesn't work the way she wants it to, but she still chooses to believe that it could. Ouch. But I remember how it was back then, wrapped up in your arms, and her friends are laughing because nothing like this ever happened to them. Like, one of those little memories that she keeps just flashing back to is just this simple moment of their friends thinking that they're cute together.
Yeah.
It's also very question coded.
I was just thinking that. It also reminds me of senior year of high school when the guy I had a crush on asked me out on a date, or I asked him out on a date and he said yes. I don't remember. It was high school. Yeah. And afterwards I went out and I went up to Liv and told her, and then we just like held hands and jumped in the choir room because we were so happy because she knew that I had a crush on him. Yeah, it was sweet.
That is so sweet. Now I'm pacing down the hall, chasing down your street. Yeah, halls, there for heartbreak.
Truly.
That's like any time that she mentions a hall, it's like, oh, it's gonna be a doozy.
Not just Halsey.
Exactly.
That album is sad. That new album is sad.
Oh, I'm such a big Halsey fan. I can't listen to it right now.
Yeah.
I need to be a little bit more mentally sound before I listen to The Great Impersonator again.
Right.
Flashback to the night when you said to me, nothing's going to change, not for me and you. This is the kind of promise that you can only make when you're like young and stupid and in love, because saying that nothing is going to change, like that's just not possible. That's not realistic. Change is the only thing that's constant in the world. Is like the only thing that you know will happen is that things will definitely change. And that's just kind of how it works. So like him saying like nothing's going to change, not for me and you. And then she goes, back before I knew how much I had to lose. Ouch.
Yeah. Jeez.
Like if you think that there's no chance that things will change and that you'll lose each other and that he'll like walk out and you'll lock him out and he'll never come back. If you never even had that possibility in your mind, then you can never mentally prepare for it, and you can never like plan for a future where that doesn't happen. And I think that like when you're young and you're in relationships, it's really easy to get fully swept up in it and just be like, oh my God, and this is the life we're going to have together. And it's definitely going to happen exactly like this because this is like a movie and this is like our little romance story. And but then that's not how it works. And then what you expected to have happen doesn't happen. And suddenly you're just
shattering.
Yeah. And like she's looking back on it and it's like she was a different person because this heartbreak changed her so much.
Every time you yawn, I want to call you Long Yawn Silvers. I just haven't yet. So I'm going to do it now. Every time.
What do you mean
like,
Long Yawn
like
Silvers?
Long John Silvers.
I know what that is.
But I was just like, what if I did a bit where every time you yawned, I came up with a new pun? But then I just never said Long Yawn Silvers. I've been holding on to that. I cut out a lot of the yawns when I edit, by the way, so just know that Kat has yawned approximately 7 or 8 times.
I've yawned so much. I'm so EP. Bro, I'm an EP girl. Okay, the chorus is the same, and now the bridge. If you're out there, if you're somewhere, if you're moving on.
Whoa.
I've been waiting for you every day since you've been gone.
That's very Exile core.
It's very Exile core. How did she not mix up? Like, honestly, she should mash up these songs.
Yeah.
Taylor, idea for Eras Tour 2, Electric Boogaloo. And like this idea of like, if you're out there, if you're somewhere, if you're moving on, I've been thinking about you every day that you've been gone. It's just so desperate.
Yeah.
And like heartbreak, because it's just so earnest in its desperation. Like she's saying all of this, just hoping that he'd come back to her. But in reality, she doesn't know if he will ever hear this song, if he'll ever know that she's been waiting for him to come back ever since she ended things. And I just want it back the way it was before. I hate to say it, not possible. Yeah. Because she's not the same person she was before this heartbreak.
Right.
He's not the same person he was, probably. We don't know. I'll get to that. And like something like this 6 months apart is just going to irrevocably change things. Just like Twilight.
Truly.
Anytime I use the word irrevocably, I just think about Kristen Stewart mispronouncing it.
Yeah.
And I just want to see you back at my front door. Very How You Get the Girl sequel or prequel.
Interesting how it's not the side door too.
Yeah. And then so that's the bridge, and then Genius called this part the breakdown. Me. And I'd say come back to me like you would before you said it's not that easy. What's not that easy? I don't know. Like, we don't know what he was saying this about.
It's not that easy to come back.
But like, is that what? But like, come back to me like you would before you said it's not that easy. So like now it's the post, it's not that easy, so he can't come back. So like, what was he responding to? That she was just like, maybe she was saying like, just apologize and things will be fine. And like, maybe that's what it is. This isn't my discussion question, but I am interested to know what people's theories are. Like, maybe it's not that easy to come back, but I don't know.
Interesting. I don't know either.
Like, what does it mean? Before the fight, before I locked you out. So clearly he did something bad enough that she kicked him out and locked him out of their place physically.
Exile.
Exactly. She exiled him. Mm-hmm. But we'll never know what happened because she's ignoring that painful past and that decision to lock him out literally and figuratively because she never thought that he would really leave. But I take it all back now. The pain of losing him is more than the pain that she had in the relationship, and she didn't see that coming. So if she could go back and change it, she would.
Yeah.
And then the chorus happens again. It's the same chorus, but the way that she sings the you could if you just say you're sorry, she does this like, if you just say you're sorry. It's so good. It's so good. And then there's an outro. You'd be here by now. It's not the kind of ending you want to see now. If you go into a movie expecting a rom-com and then the ending is them breaking up and not getting back together, like, she's left questioning everything.
Yeah.
And he's out there somewhere maybe moving on. Like, you would be disappointed if that's the end of something that you went to see that was billed as a rom-com. This isn't the kind of ending I want to see. And Taylor's trying to live her little fairy tale life. And this does not fit the narrative. I thought you'd be here by now.
Ouchie.
Ouch. Like, she thought that he would realize that he made a mistake and come crawling back, but he didn't do that.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting is that this is one of Taylor's few songs where she doesn't try to guess what her partner is feeling. It's the opposite. She has no idea what he's feeling, and she's not trying to speculate. She's just talking about herself and what she felt and thought, and like, somehow that's more painful than her trying to figure out what he thinks, because her, like, a lot of times she's trying to guess what the other person is feeling so that she can kind of like know how to react. But in this, she's like, I don't know what you're doing. Like, I don't know if you're out there, if you're somewhere, if you're moving on, but like, I'm just sitting here waiting for you. I'm right where you left me.
It's the part of growing up where you're just like, I don't actually know the things that I thought I knew.
Exactly. She doesn't know him anymore, so she can't even guess how he feels.
And I also think about how Taylor, a lot of times when she first started making music, wrote songs about theoretical things or other stories. And now she's starting to write more about her own life. And she's just like, oh, it's not like the movies. It's not like these stories. Like, different things are happening that I'm not expecting, and it's painful.
Yeah. And then the last line is just a repeated thought you'd be here by now. Just gotta twist the knife.
Dang. My
discussion question: if you could be transported into the world of any movie right now, what would you choose? I'm afraid of what you're gonna say.
Nope. I was just trying to think of any movie with Joe Keery that was acceptable for me to go into and see him.
You can maybe go Marmalade.
I was thinking that, but he has weird hair in that movie.
Well, eventually his hair gets better.
Yeah, we'll say Marmalade because I'm in my Joe Keery era. Clearly, I'm so excited about seeing Joe. I'm in my Jera for real.
DJERA.
Exactly. What about you?
You know, I asked a question that I didn't think about what my response would be.
First thought, best thought. Go.
All I'm thinking is TV shows.
Okay.
I'm breaking my own rules.
Say, you gotta say it. I said mine.
But all I'm thinking about is the Haunting of Hill House, and I don't want to be there. I don't want to go. I would not be there,
Not even for Theodora?
You know what? Maybe for Theodora.
We love Kate Siegel.
We do love Kate Siegel. I love that she just keeps playing queer people. You know what? She's allowed.
She's so pretty.
I mean, I don't know if she is queer. She's allowed anyways. It's fine.
Right.
I'm trying to think of Miss Americana.
You want to go into that movie?
I want to go into that movie, but like as a friend of Taylor.
Oh, so you're also choosing your role.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. So then you could go into Marmalade as what's her name?
No, I will not be doing that.
You said,
I'll find something
you
else.
said
I could
no,
go to Free Guy. We love that's a good one. I'll be
You
Free
could
Guy
go to
because
Free Guy as
Joe
yes.
Keery plays Keys, and Keys is unproblematic king.
Love that
So.
movie. Love Joe Keery in that movie.
So the camera's dying and it's running out of
So
space. So
thank you to everyone who's donated to the fundraiser so far.
thank you.
More people donate. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. It's been a really chaotic, hard month. We,
But now it's February, so reset.
reset time. It's the month of love, theoretically. Love yourself.
This month,
The
be a
most.
hoe. That's what I'm doing.
Two very different approaches to this month.
I mean, that's an Easter egg
Okay.
in a way that nobody is expecting, I'm sure.
Thank you as always to our Swiftest tier patrons, Bethany, M, September, Ashley, and Liam. We love you so much.
And we're so excited for our guest that we're having on next week. It's going to be such a good one. She has such good takes
Yeah, she really
on
does.
Taylor stuff.
Yeah, we're really excited.
Her video on like her take on Chloe et al. Like literally rewired my brain. That's what I asked her to be on the pod.
Yeah, and I saw the comment and then I watched the video and then I was like, oh my gosh. And then she responded and she said yes. And we were like, whoa.
So now we're here.
It's very cool. If you want to follow us for clips and stories and DM us, whatever, we're on Instagram at Swiftlore Pod.
And we're on TikTok at Swiftlore Pod.
And all other information is going to be in the show notes. Information about the fundraiser, information about whatever, etc. Whatever. I'm tired. It's
I'm just seeing how far I can make the bird fly before you said something.
we have to cut this. I
We
think
have to stop.
We have to get out. It's been real.
I'm leaving out the side door.
See you guys next week. Love you.
Crispy
Bye.
high five.
Oh my! Just high five me. Stop being weird.
I can't.
Bye.
I can't stop being weird. It's who I am. Bye. Oh.